I said to you when we got onto the field, when our heels touched down on an inch of ayahuasca grass or whatever kind of grass it is, Bermuda, the short Bermuda, that all I wanted to see today was a good day yesterday from Trey and not take a step back today, just consistency. And I think, as you said afterwards, you know what? That was another pro practice. That's what it was. Another pro practice from Trey Lance on Wednesday.
Feels like you got to be very excited if you're Kyle Shanahan, Brian Greasy, John Lynch, Adam Peters. The guys had, as the longer we go into training camp, it feels like he's improving. And I thought to bounce back after his best day as a 49er, let's be real. Yesterday was his best day as a 49er. To have a real practice again, I wouldn't say it's quite as good as yesterday. Now, granted, is part of it, he just hit a couple bigger plays yesterday. It was a big positive. And to me, if he can just be consistent, like if I know what I'm getting 13 out of the 17 games, I'll even allow him 4 stinkers. And hopefully in one of those stinkers, the defense is good enough. You win that game, maybe even 2. You split 2 of his, 4 of his, his 4 bad games. If he can just be a consistent player, they would be very, very happy. I think that I would say my concern was early in camp, which would be with any young quarterback, Trevor Lawrence to, Justin Herbert. It's like, are we going to get a lot of ups and downs? And that still might be the case, but I would rather just know like kind of what I'm getting the majority of the time. You got to allow, like, I don't know I just picked 4 out of 17, but you're going to have some bad games, right? You're just going to have a game plan that kicks your ass. You're going to have one of those games where you're just off. Like we see that a lot in the NFL, right? And some of those are going to be maybe a terrible half, and hopefully he bounces back in the second half. Like Peyton Manning has those, right? Tom Brady has those. Aaron Rodgers has those. Now, the better you get, the smaller that number of games is, but, they're going to be bad plays, but overall, you're going to have consistent games. And if the Trey that we saw the last couple of days, if they can just figure out what type plays he's just going to be consistent with, which I think they're getting a better idea with, and I think he's going to run a little bit more than we probably thought early in camp because they never asked him to do it, which kind of makes sense looking back, right? They were really, really working on the intermediate to deep passing game. They were forcing those. Forcing's the wrong word. They were just consistently calling those plays, I think, to rep them out, right?
Yeah.
Especially once Debo showed up with the pads, right?
And they took another, early team drill, and somebody in the Sway in the chat said no Charvarius Ward or Emmanuel Mosley again in practice on Wednesday, which is correct. Their starting corners didn't practice. But early, it might have been the first. It wasn't the first play of team drills. Kyle always runs the ball in the first play. They took a deep shot, kind of one of those deep crossers to Debo. I saw the end of his route, so I don't know if he came from the other side of the field or if he just bent his, started up at the hash and bent out to the sideline. But it was basically Debo, 3 guys on him. Debo had the step, extend. We can talk about, I want your assessment on the throw in a second. Hit Debo off the tips of the fingers, and he did not catch it. It was he kind of went all out for it. But I was thinking about it.
First Debo dive of the camp.
Yeah, I think it was. Kittle made a nice diving catch over middle on an extended play. I was thinking about it like 2 different powers of a flashlight, Garoppolo to Lance, right? Like imagine you're in a cave and you have a flashlight that can only go 50 feet. Well, you don't know really what's beyond 50 feet. And that was kind of Garoppolo with the offense. And Lance, even though he's not always going to be able to hit some of those deep throws, he's a flashlight that shows you much more of the cave. There's just access. You can see parts of the field that you didn't see before, that you didn't bother. The Niners offense did not look at things in certain places on the field because it wasn't going to be a part of their offense with any consistency. And I did think about that a little bit today. Just even though they haven't hit a bunch of deep balls to Debo, the fact that just exists for them where it didn't exist before is one more kind of element of stress that they can put on a defense. He made a really nice throw to Ayuk, a really good catch by Ayuk today. Now it's tough. I mean, there was one ball a couple times actually. Bosa had multiple sacks in practice. Bosa was in team drills today and had multiple sacks, I thought. But what did you think of the deep ball to Debo? It was the only deep ball really, I think, that he threw to Debo today.
To me, there's a lot of his misses in early in camp when I would say, again, critical. It sounds so negative. It's just people just reporting what was happening. Balls way overthrown, balls where guys had no chance. That, when we talk about inaccuracy, is ultimately a problem. I think you will take that pass in the vicinity where only your guy has a chance every day of the week.
Absolutely.
Right? To me, if he's throwing that ball all the time, they're going to hit a large percentage of them just because their guys are so skilled. So to me, there is a major difference on the ones that he's just overthrown, or where the guy like, Shaquille O'Neal in his prime might not have put a finger on it, and the ball that like ultimately hit the ground, but your $60 million player is laying out. Because to me, their ball skills, Debo and definitely Ayuk, but even I know Jennings has dropped balls, and obviously Kittle, like with time goes on, if he puts it in their vicinity, they're going to have a lot of opportunities to make plays, right? Because he has incredible, his top three playmakers, Debo, Kittle, and Ayuk. I think we go around the league. It's fair to say that's fucking up there, right? Like Kyle, the entire league, would you trade your trio of three playmakers for? Let's just go around the league. Like I haven't looked, but there wouldn't be many, if any. There'd be you would say
Mostert, Waddle, and Tyreek Hill.
No, because you wouldn't want the side. But I know what you're saying, but you could argue there might not be.
Yeah,
honestly, the Raiders would have one of the better packages in the league.
I didn't think he had Josh Jacobs, Devontae Adams, or you'd go the three receivers.
Well, I'd go Waller,
Devontae,
little white guy, Devontae.
Renfro. Yeah.
Kyle's like, I'd like a little Renfro.
I don't think he had one of those bad throws today. Like one of those misses that just turns out to be a wasted play. He did throw a ball away, threw it out of bounds. It hit a cooler, bounced, and hit a little kid in the face. So I think he was okay. So, but that was an intentional throwaway, which with fans around is actually kind of dangerous because it turns out even those balls that look like they're just little floaters are moving pretty quickly.
It hit a cooler.
It hit something. I heard a bang. I looked. No one was holding their head.
What I think happened is it perfectly skipped off.
You think it hit the ground?
Like a PJ golf tournament where everyone's been walking. It's so compact, and that ball was moving so fast that everyone split. It hit the dirt, but the dirt is like concrete and skipped like a rock would.
Okay, I just heard a sound. So
yeah, it hit the ground, but it skipped perfectly like a rock on a lake because the ground was so hard and went right into the front row of the stands. Again, this is a 40-yard bomb down the field, not his fault. It did pepper the kid.
It was a boasted sack, honestly, is what it was.
Yeah, the play was well over. Trey would have been on the ground, right? Into a game.
One thing that occurred to me watching him today is hopefully get some chances. You'd go into a preseason game, and we'll talk more about this, not wanting to run him, but he doesn't slide in practice, John, when he runs. So his first,
but you don't need to slide when you're not going to get tackled, right?
Understood, but you do need to have a plan for how to end your runs. So he's not going to really.
You think Kyler's sliding in practice?
No, I don't think. I don't think I've really seen quarterbacks at all slide in practice. But I wonder if you should slide a little bit in practice because you may not run them that much in the preseason. And once a game starts, you do want to be able to, know how to end the run play when he's running the football. Just a thought that crossed my mind today is like when the season starts is the first time he'll be doing that stuff.
I'll be honest. Based on last year, he doesn't strike me as a slider. He strikes me as
which is
front head first diver.
Yeah,
you don't slide when you don't know how to slide. You get hurt. I don't think he's going to be a slider.
Just got to fit. He doesn't have to slide. He just got to end these runs somehow. Is my point. Whatever that means.
To me, there are two guys.
He does a lot of this, like
kind
of. What do you call that? I don't know. Turtling his body up in these practice runs, which makes me think his move in games is take guys on
or dive forward. To me,
or dive forward. Yeah,
Kyler and Russell are the two sliders, and they are baseball guys. I feel most other guys are pretty clunky. You watch Lamar; he's kind of a diver.
He is.
Trey does not strike me as you're getting slide in a second base ever. And I don't even mean even when he's not like trying to take on contact. Like Doesn't it feel like he's just kind of going to hit the ground? I don't know. I mean,
yeah, I mean, last year he didn't know how to land the plane.
I'm fascinated to watch him run in real games, including, I mean, the preseason. He might take off too. You're right. What's it look like? One, just his confidence in the open field, and then two, honestly, it hadn't crossed my mind. I would always try to get toward out of the white lines,
but he runs up the middle a lot.
I know. So,
Kid Tricks on the YouTube stream says, sad that Lamar has no weapons outside of Mark Andrews. Get Rashad Bateman.
I heard they have a tight end from Coastal Carolina that a little birdie told me has been looking sweet.
Okay, so they're gonna have 2 tight ends and Bateman and Lamar.
I know this. The people around the Ravens, they think they're fucking good, and they know what good teams look like.
Again,
you think they're worried about trading Hollywood Brown? They're not.
No, I think Bateman's better for them than Hollywood Brown.
Yeah, Dobbins. They got all the running backs coming back.
That's right. Anyway, so good day for Trey. Hard practice today. Do you notice that all the like, I don't know what you'd call them, like the swag squad or whatever, for whatever reason, Juszczyk, Jennings, Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, those 4 guys all were wearing black pants today when everyone was wearing gold, and Trent Williams. So I don't know if that's the swag squad or it's like wearing a C on your chest. Instead, you get to wear the black pants in practice.
They have a name called the swag squad. Is that something?
I just made that up. Like the 5 of them wearing black. I mean, Juszczyk, like, tell me any of those guys don't belong on the swag squad? Yeah. Juszczyk, Deebo, Ayuk, Jennings, and Trent Williams.
Jennings, we a little longer resume to get there.
Okay. But the look. I mean, the look is
he pulls it off.
Got like the red hair.
Yeah, he looks cool.
Maybe it's gold. I can't remember.